What you're seeing here has been the pain for my last 4 years. This is a clouded leopard, and this picture tells a big story, which is that biologists go through enormous lengths, almost defying all odds, to catch single animals. We collect data points that are so precious. This animal is found per 100 square kilometers of forest, there will be 2 or 3. So you can imagine why detecting each one is a huge resource, and we spend lots of time and money doing so. Now we do that because on the backdrop of where they live, in Borneo for example, we're seeing this level of deforestation, where over just 5 decades we've lost half the amount of forest that used to be there. So it's quick, it's rapid, and we don't know what it's doing. So this has inspired lots of science, and that's been great. But the science is not keeping up with the rapid rate of development. Now, it's easy to look at those places and say, well, it's just corrupt governments in it. But it's not. It is consumption from here. This stat is about where the UK's plastic ends up. And as you can see, Malaysia and Indonesia, where Borneo is quite high on that statistic, right? So all of our trash is just kind of going there. And where it's going to is on land. Other things that are grabbing land is not palm oil anymore, it's solar farms, funded through UK taxpayer money and the rest of the EU, etc. Land is crucial. There's no going away from it. So finding that balance between good use of land and keeping clouded leopards where they are, super crucial. But cloud leopards are markers of a system. They live within an ecosystem that houses thousands and thousands of species, and we're interested in all of them, right? Now, the way we've typically tried to study them, because resources are so constrained, is that we build models. Now, I'll try and whiz through what a model is really quickly. We collect loads of chronotype data, much like what Tom spoke about earlier. Now, a model tries to explain that chronotype observations using some satellite imagery, right? And as Anil spoke about this morning, there's loads of satellite imagery available. We can get layers on GDP per pixel, forest loss per pixel, human density per pixel. We can use these as predictors of the biological occurrences and make beautiful colored maps like this, where places that are super yellow are great habitat for clouded leopard, for example, and very blue-green is bad habitat. You can see why this is quite important for policymakers, because if they wanted to find a place to put plastic from the UK, they're just trying to avoid the yellow places. But how correct are these models, and can we rely on them? Now, you might have detected a problem. Can we rely on these remote sensing layers? How truthful are they? What's the resolution? These are questions that are always asked, and rightfully so. The developments in AI has helped us with this a bit. Now, there's a bit of a backstory. The reason why we use these remote sense layers is because they have a global coverage. If they have a global coverage, it means we can make predictions everywhere, in space and in time. For somewhere like Borneo, that's powerful, because I can collect data in one place and then find out what's going on for the rest of Borneo. Something that would have been impossible to do to get coverage all over the island. But extrapolations come with costs. The cost is accuracy. We don't need to do that anymore. Now we can collect data, train it on data that we think is important for the species and ecologists. Say, for clouded leopard, that could be canopy cover, height, grassland, prey species. Make predictions at a local area. Once we have predictions at a local area, much like what Anil was talking about this morning, we can use foundational models, spatial foundational models, like the Sarah that Anil spoke about. Another one that's been released very recently is Alpha Earth, which is an embedding. Just like Anil said as well, you can train embeddings to predict where your habitats are without prior knowledge. So if we knew the precise local habitat constraints of something like a cloud leopard or a pangolin for a very small area, we can simply train these spatial models to make predictions that are far more accurate and unbiased by the resolution or classifications done by other remote sensing people before. I know this might be a lot to condense in 1 minute, but I think this is going to be huge in the space of how we make models and make predictions on what species are doing and where. And I'm very excited about it. And then, since we care not just about single species, once we have a stack, let's call it, of these distribution models, if we wanted to answer the question of where is species most densely congregated, we can simply stack these species up. These are individual SVMs that we made on species like the mongoose, the Bornean elephant, the flat-headed cat, Bornean bay cat. And if these species matter to, say, policymakers or donors or members of the public, we can show them exactly which pixels of land harbor the most habitat for those species. So I think it's quite a dynamic, quite powerful, quite versatile and robust way of finding out where to prioritize conservation across the globe. Thank you.